right. Again, thank you all for joining us this evening for the ANC3C January 2024 public meeting. I will start with verifying that we have a quorum. So 3C01.
Present.
Excellent. 3C02.
Here.
3C03 is me, and I'm here. 3C04.
Present.
3C05.
Smalley.
Present. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. 3C06.
Present.
3C07 is not present at this time, but will be arriving shortly, hopefully. And 3C08 appears to be struggling to connect to audio, but I can verify that we have six of 8 commissioners present. So we have a quorum. I will also verify that this meeting was properly noticed to all of our usual suspects, including our ANC3C notice list, our Twitter, and our website, in addition to various listservs and other messages. We will move on to the approval of the agenda and the consent calendar. On the consent calendar this evening is the approval of the December 2023 meeting minutes, a resolution regarding the 2024 Rock and Roll DC Half Marathon and 5K, a letter requesting Representative Norton work with the National Park Service on land transfers in Woodley Park to transfer the land located at the southwest corner of Connecticut Avenue and Calvert Street from the National Park Service to DC, and a resolution regarding an ABCA application for Eliza's Ethiopian Kitchen at 2614 Connecticut Avenue. Does anyone have any changes to the consent calendar or any comments? Commissioner Geis.
Just want a quick flag. I took a look on the 5K resolution. I'm not sure, but I think Commissioner Kripke is on that path too, his SMD. Should we maybe amend it to add him as a designee?
Sure.
Cool.
I will accept that as a friendly amendment and add it. And we won't need to pull it off consent as long as everybody is in agreement with that. With that, without objection.
Packets.
Yes.
Sorry. I just wanted to note that people aren't having deja vu, that we are voting on an ELSA Ethiopian Kitchen ABRA license again, just because there was a technicality that was wrong with our other one. So it's the same thing, just different.
Yes, it's for the stipulated license until they can go through the process.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that point of clarification. So with that, are there any objections to moving on with the agenda as posted, described, and the approval of all the items on the consent calendar? Hearing no objection, we will move forward. Thank you. The first item of business this month is the election of officers for this year of the commission. So with that, I'll be turning the election of the chair over to the current secretary, Commissioner Prinzo.
Okay. Do I have a nomination for chair of ANC3C?
I would
Commissioner
like to,
Geis.
thank you, Secretary Prinzo. I would like to nominate Commissioner Pagets for chair for the 2024 year.
Do I have a second?
I would second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. I see 8 hands. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Congratulations, Chair Pagets.
Thank you. And thank you all for your help in the past year of my first term as chair, or first year as chair. Okay, so we will move on then to vice chair. Is there a nomination for vice chair from the floor?
I have a nomination for Commissioner Geis as vice chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Awesome, thank you. Commissioner Geis, are you willing and able to serve in the capacity of vice chair?
Yes.
Excellent. Is there any other nominations from the floor for vice chair? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. All right, I see all 8 hands, so none are opposed and there are no abstentions. Thank you and congratulations, Commissioner Geis. All right, we will move on then to nominations for secretary.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Prinzo.
Okay, thank you. I hear a second. Are there any other well, first of all, Commissioner Prinzo, are you willing and able to operate as
Yes,
secretary? Okay.
I am indeed.
Are there any other nominations from the floor for secretary? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Commissioner Prinzo carrying on as secretary, raise your hand or say aye. I'm seeing all 8 hands again, so there are no noes and no abstentions. Thank you and congratulations, Commissioner Prinzo. All right, now for the spicy and fun role of treasurer. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Siddiqui. Sorry.
I will second.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Geis. Commissioner Siddiqui, are you willing and able to carry on as treasurer?
Willing and able, definitely not happy, but willing and able.
All righty, well, happy wasn't a requirement. Are there any other nominations from the floor for treasurer? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Commissioner Siddiqui as treasurer, raise your hand or say aye. All righty, I see 7 hands. All those opposed? I see 1 hand. With that, the motion carries. Commissioner Siddiqui, congratulations. Treasurer. Yay. All right, thank you all for that. And
Chair Pagets, I just wanted to, add my thanks to those who serve and continue to serve in these important roles.
thank you. I appreciate it. And appreciate all of you. All right, the next item is our consideration of the ANC's participation in the Advisory Neighborhood Commission Security Fund. Commissioner Siddiqui.
Yes, so I forwarded you all this email regarding the ANC Security Fund. This is something that we do every year, and it's requirement for us to participate in order to be able to spend ANC dollars. So I had forwarded you all the documents, and as part of the forms, we'll be completing some information regarding our bank. But the resolution was on page 2 of the PDF, and I will just read the resolution for the purposes of completion. Resolved that this commission approves the ANC's participation in the Advisory Neighborhood Commission Security Fund and authorizes the treasurer to pay the $20 fee for calendar year 2024 from the approval date of the agreement through December 31st, 2024. The chairperson and secretary are authorized to execute the attached agreement. It is understood that check for participation in the ANC Security Fund should be made payable to ANC Security Fund. The ANC is not considered a participant in the fund until the ANC has received the acceptance section of the agreement, which has been signed by the District of Columbia auditor, and the agreement will not be accepted by the auditor until all required documents and the participation fee have been received by the Office of District of Columbia auditor. The required documents are the resolution, ANC Security Fund agreement, $50 check made payable to ANC Security Fund, statement of information for the chairperson and the treasurer, a bank survey, and the copy of current bank signature card.
Excellent. So you're moving that resolution. Is there a
I would
second?
like to move this to the vote, yes.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion on this? Questions?
I just have a question.
Okay.
Commissioner Siddiqui, on page 2, because I can't find it in my email, does it actually say $20 even though it's supposed to be 50?
No, did I ever say 20? I meant to say 50.
Oh, okay. Just checking. I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
know if they made yet another mistake on paperwork. It would
No,
be the first time they
it was
did.
my mistake if I said 20. It's clearly $50.
Thank
You
you.
all voted me as treasurer, so if I made a mistake, it's all on you all.
All right. All right, so it doesn't sound like there's any other discussion. So we'll move to do a vote. All those in favor of approving the $50 spend for the ANC Security Fund, raise your hand or say aye. I see all 8 hands are up, so there are nobody in opposition and no abstentions, so the motion carries. Thank you. All righty. Next up in our fun administrative agenda is the consideration of the 2024/January 2025 meeting calendar. We have historically met the third Monday of each month, with the exception of August, where we take the month off. And we are this year proposing to move any meeting that is on a Monday that is a holiday to the next Tuesday. And the only exception to that is in April, where the meeting would be on Wednesday, because Monday is tax day and Tuesday is DC Emancipation Day. These were all sent in these dates were all sent to the commissioners and posted with our notice and agenda. So with that, I'll move those proposed meeting dates. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Did anybody find a wrong date? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote to approve the notice dates for this calendar year and next January. So all those in favor of the proposed meeting dates, raise your hand or say aye. All right, I see all 8 hands, so there are none in opposition and no abstentions. The meeting dates carry, and we'll post those to our website so that everybody can plan ahead. All right, excuse me. So the next item on our agenda is the consideration of chairs for the existing standing committees, which I would like to move these in bulk, and then hopefully get a second to continue carrying on with the existing chairs and co-chairs of our standing committees for this calendar year. So as a reminder of the standing committees, and hopefully we have more public members joining them, my proposal is that the Transparency and Public Process Committee continue to be chaired by Commissioner Prinzo. The Safe, Sustainable, and Equitable Transportation Committee continue to be chaired by Commissioner Siddiqui. The Community Engagement and Grants Committee continue to be chaired by Commissioner Kripke. The Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee continue to be co-chaired by myself and Commissioner Gordon. The Residential Historic Preservation Review Committee continue to be co-chaired by Commissioners Siddiqui, Kripke, and Nash. The Environmental Justice Committee continue to be chaired by Commissioner McCorston, and the Public Safety Committee continue with the co-chairs of Commissioners Prinzo and Nash. With that, I'll make that motion to approve the chairs of the
Second.
committee. Thank you. Is there any discussion or anyone wanting to not chair? Commissioner Kripke, were you raising your hand to say something or just waving? Okay, friendly hello. Thank you. All right, hearing no discussion and nobody wanting to bow out of this, and I again thank you all for not and continuing on your work there. As long as we make this vote and approval of the standing chair or the standing committee chairs. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. All right, I'm seeing all 8 hands, so there's nobody in opposition to that and no abstentions. So the motion carries, and those will be the chairs. And again, thank you all for your work on these committees. I know this is, especially with the amount that we have, a new new initiative that ANC3C has taken on this term, and I appreciate the experimenting and the learning as we go with that. So thank you all. All right, so moving on. Next up, we have a resolution regarding composting in multifamily buildings that the Environmental Justice Committee has put forward, and Commissioner McCorson, if you want to explain, read the resolves and make a motion, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Chair Pagets. The Environmental Justice Committee has finally drafted a resolution regarding composting services for multifamily residential buildings. We had a meeting about composting last year, so this is in June. So this is a follow-up on that. I won't read all of the whereases, but they outline some of the background, and we acknowledge that DPW doesn't service multifamily buildings for waste collection, including compost or recycling or trash, whatever. So, you know, given that, we are calling to for a pilot program to be the pilot program that has been launched for single family homes, for something similar to be put into place for multifamily homes. We received some input from the community too in the last few days by email. So we're trying to make it clear that that we feel that DPW is best positioned to offer and enact these services, including like the pilot program to check it out. We heard from different community members about who live in multifamily buildings, and for a variety of reasons, they've pressured their management companies, for example, to offer composting services, but they won't do it. So we try to acknowledge and include those points and others in the resolution. And the therefore clauses, I will read, therefore be it resolved that ANC3C is requesting the District of Columbia expedite the implementation of a citywide composting pilot program for residents of multifamily residential buildings. Be it further resolved that ANC3C continues to call on the District Department of Public Works to consider and incorporate the Commission's previous feedback into the Zero Waste DC plan draft framework, including composting services for multifamily buildings. Be it further resolved that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 3C calls on the mayor and the DC Council to fully fund efforts to achieve the goals in the Zero Waste DC plan draft framework, including composting services for multifamily buildings, and the DC Council exercise robust oversight of the District Department of Public Works and to other agencies to ensure implementation of the Zero Waste DC plan draft framework's goals. And be it further resolved, the commission designates the chair and the commissioners for 3C04 and 3C03, who is the chair, to represent the commission in all matters relating to this resolution.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you. With that, let's open it up for a discussion first among the commissioners, and then we'll turn to the community, and also the committee members too. So commissioners, any questions, comments, discussion? Commissioner Siddiqui.
I just want to thank Commissioner McCorston for chairing this committee and starting the draft of this and working with the community to get a draft together. I think it's essentially important. You know, my neighbors always ask me about composting, and I'm always like, well, when the farmers market's here, we have something, but otherwise we don't. So I think it's great. Really appreciate that. I also want to thank Commissioner Pagets for her additions later on in the resolution. I think they made it very strong.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gordon?
Agreed. Like, we have a composting program at Ordway Gardens that we've been piloting for the last couple of months, and it's been really successful, and people are, you know, we ended up actually getting a second can because people are using it so much. So I would love to see that replicated in other buildings. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Geis?
Thank you, Chair Pagets. Again, very much in favor of this, and thank you so much for your work. I guess I just have a quick question, which is, did I understand you right when you were saying that the district waste management doesn't do anything for regular trash with multifamily homes, and it's all privately? Do you think that you know, by way of doing this compost program, you know, building the, you know, the district's capacity in that way, that could somehow lead to a further system where they did end up doing just all trash management, you know, pickup, be that all recycling, composting, and just the other trash.
Thank you for the question. I mean, we're not, that's not our intention in this. I think we are focused here on just the idea of composting services. I don't think we're, well, we don't intend to kind of open the door for DPW to have to collect from all multifamily buildings. I think we see them as best positioned to implement something on this based on the fact that they've implemented from scratch a pilot program for single family homes, and that they have the oversight and the ability to implement something relatively quickly.
And I've asked this question 1,000 times before too, but the composting program seems more like realistic to be scaled at this level, rather than like the wholesale like trash and recycling, due to the different equipment that would be required and having a full on like fleet overhaul. In addition to, I know there's a few trash facilities that are still not online in the district, processing facilities that I believe are still under construction. So starting out like, you know, with this composting seems easier. And it's also something that like, I mean, my building is a condo building, and our co-owners all voted to have composting available in our building, but not every building is going to be like that. And it's going to take forcing of some management's hands that don't see the value in providing this service to their residents. And we've heard from residents that really want it. So,
Thank you
Commissioner,
for the clarification.
Commissioner Nash.
I would agree. And I mean, despite the challenges that you mentioned where some building managements are not enthusiastic, you know, this does, as you suggest, provide a really efficient way to, you know, scale what is still a pretty nascent program district wide. And the other advantage is that, you know, many buildings have their own listservs or, you know, similar platforms to get the word out and to build participation. So, you know, this is kind of a no-brainer.
Agreed. Any other commissioners? Any members of the community want to weigh in on this? Just raise your little virtual hand using the menu at the bottom in the reactions button, or you can turn on your camera and wave your hand at me and we will see you and call on you. All right. Seeing and hearing none, I say we take a vote on this. All those in favor of the multifamily composting resolution, raise your hand or say aye. All right, I see all 8 hands are up. So there are no no's and no abstentions. The motion carries. And again, thank you and the committee for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the discussion of standing up a task force for the DC public school boundary study. Since I put this on the agenda, I kind of got a clearer picture of the timeline on this, and I don't know that we're going to have time to stand up an official task force through ANC3C, but I would like to engage with interested and involved members of the community regarding the boundary study. So we were just informed by the Deputy Mayor's Office of Education that they have set up a meeting time and a place for their outreach to the Oyster Adams feeder school community. And that meeting will be in person on Tuesday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. I posted a link to their site that links to the form that you can register to attend. The meeting will be at 2501 11th Street Northwest, which I believe is being used as the swing space while they're renovating the Adams campus. So there's that. I'm going to try and attend in person, even though I don't have a child, so don't think that's weird. I would like to be informed. Because I know that there's a lot of concern regarding especially the north end of the boundary line for Oyster. And we would like to hear from folks, and if next month the ANC can pass a resolution to provide the community's input to the advisory committee that's informing this plan that will be sent to the mayor's office in March, we will do that. So rather than go through the process of trying to recruit a task force after we pass something officially here, I would like to go that path. And I'm hoping that my fellow commissioners and also involved members of the school communities that are more in touch with parents can help us do some outreach on this. I'm planning on, we can post this information blast it out to our email list via the ANC channel and also our Twitter, and we'll post it to our website too. So if you forget where this obscure boundary page is on the DC government site, you can find it in other places. So with that, I'll open it up for discussion with the fellow commissioners here, and then any questions from the community members who are on the call. Commissioner Kripke.
First, just to say, this is a very important issue, and in our neighborhood, it's especially important because there are different. The boundaries are important in our schools, like our community, like just my neighborhood has two different schools that my neighborhood feeds into two different schools and then into a middle school, and those have changed within recent years. So so it's a subject of constant discussion among parents, both what is happening and what will happen. And so, but I don't have clear points of view, and it's very timely that we develop a point of view about this and start taking input from parents associations and so forth. So I welcome the initiative. Thank you, Chair Pagets, for bringing it up. And I would like to figure out some even informal but somewhat more robust way to try to get input from parents associations and so forth, which I will try to put a little bit of time into in the coming period, because of course parents associations are probably the clearest people who would have a point of view, but also new residents and people who moved here under the assumption that they're going to go to a certain school will have some opinions about what's going to happen with the borders. So and those are relevant. So anyway, just to say, I agree with you, and we don't have that much time, so we don't have time to have an elaborate process. But I want to think about ways to capture this input and turn it into a resolution. So I definitely want to see if we can gather the community input and develop a ANC point of view about it by the next meeting if we can.
Agreed. And I'll put another link in the chat too that links to like the overall boundaries, or maybe I did that and I did this opposite. Yes, it's a long and complex process, and the lines are apparently still moving. Commissioner Siddiqui.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your initiative, Commissioner Pagets, and I just want to put a seed in the mind for folks who are listening. I think the one committee that our ANC doesn't have right now is something related to schools and education. It would be nice to get in a committee like that as well. I'm hoping like this task force, once we get it done, can also like eventually evolve into that. So if folks over here are interested in sort of starting something for education or schools or anything like that in general, you know, we're very amenable to it, and we're happy to help stand that up as well.
Thank you. Commissioner Prinzo.
Sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. I just want to reiterate too that Commissioner or Chair Pagets and I only found out about this, ironically, because we attended the WPCA Community Executive Board. Like, we knew it was going on, but I don't think it's like being widely shared that, especially like on the oyster side, the boundaries are changing so like almost drastically. And I've done like slight research, but not a lot into it. And in talking to the one community member on WPCA that has brought the issue up, it also does appear that they are not going to be permitting families that have multiple children to continue on in the same school with their siblings, regardless of anything. So I'm not 100% certain on that yet, but I have asked that question as well. But it is something that I know for a fact WPCA is looking at. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you. Commissioner Nash.
Thanks. Yeah, the school boundary issue is even more complex than moving boundaries, as important and consequential as that can be. Just as there's discussion of moving the Oyster Adams boundary, so too is the proposal to change not only the John Eaton boundary which adjoins it, but to increase the capacity cap at Eaton substantially, beyond what was agreed when the school was renovated and expanded at the time. And there is a petition being circulated among the Eaton HSA and the community about that. And there are different ramifications there. For one thing, it could affect the school's diversity. The other is that even at the time the school was slated for renovation, and before the physical capacity of the building was expanded as a result of the renovation, already Eaton had, I think, on a per pupil basis, among the smallest, if not the smallest, amount of outdoor space per pupil of any DC public schools. So it's not just boundaries, it's also school capacity. And, this is an issue that our constituents are, going to be quite focused on, and we will as well.
Great, thank you. Any other commissioners? Any members of the community want to comment? All right, seeing none, we can just keep folks posted and make sure to reach out to either your S&D commissioner, or feel free to reach out to all of us so that we can get a resolution in the works for next month to make some to provide feedback on what's going on with this process. All right, with that, we'll move on to our next item on commission business, which is the treasurer's report. Commissioner Stuckey.
So I just forwarded you all the email that I received today. There's one informational item and then one vote. Just want to preface this that the Office of OANC has been, and Commissioner Prinzo, I can send you exact points for the minutes. They have been incredibly unhelpful in releasing a mechanism for doing our quarterly financial reports. So what's been happening for the last 2 reports, and now this one as well, is that they just send us a report and tell us to approve it. And again, I have no mechanism to actually make the report, because we used to have a spreadsheet. They've discontinued the spreadsheet. They now say that there's going to be a new electronic mechanism. However, that mechanism isn't ready yet. So I have no control over these reports. They send them to us and they ask us to approve them. And then they also make mistakes, which is what they did last time when we approved a report as they sent it, in that they now want one of those amended. So I forward you all those items. One is informational that I'll be signing, which is there's a revised report because it was prepared without information for check 1168, written on 9/27/2023. Which is correct because I didn't write the report. OANC wrote the report and just sent it to us for approval. And so I'll be signing my signature, and that's an informational item for you all. I also forwarded you the first quarter report that they have sent, the other report, first quarter for fiscal year 24 report that they sent, which is from October to December of 2023. I would like to move it for a vote, but I also understand if none of you want to vote for it because OANC sent it to us 3 hours before this. So, Commissioner Prinzo, you have a question?
Well, now I have two questions. Do we have to vote on it today, or does it have a does it have a due date that OANC wants it by? That, like, do we have to do it this meeting?
Nope, we don't have to do it this meeting. I just did it because I don't know what else. You know, it'll be the exact same thing next time. I don't think.
I mean,
OANC
I'm happy to vote on it. I don't care.
Yeah, but also I understand since it was received 2 hours before. The only thing that we won't happen is if we don't vote on it is we won't get our allocation.
Oh, well, then let's vote on it.
But also,
But
if
my
our
other
allocation
question,
is a
sorry,
month-
go ahead.
If our allocation is a month late, that doesn't impact us that much because we have a bunch of money in the bank. So,
My question though also is, does OANC have access to our account? Like, how do they know? Are they just relying on data, or because you don't have to answer it if you can't or don't want to, but it just seems very odd that they
don't have access to anything. They're making us fill out a fake report, which has no
Okay,
information.
great.
And then what happens is in the next report, once I submit the required bank documents, they go through those bank documents and look at our report from the previous quarter and then say, oh, we didn't have all the information, so now can you amend this? That's what they're doing. So the only reason
Got it.
so they don't have access to our information. They're just making stuff up.
Okay, great.
And then want Swallow to do a 20-minute training on a new portal that's that user friendly, that it requires a 20-minute one-on-one training. That's ridiculous. Anyways,
That's
All
my
right.
soap.
Moving on.
But if people feel uncomfortable voting on it this time, since you only got it 2 hours before, happy to delay the vote till the next meeting too.
Well, if they're just gonna change it again, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Unless
nothing-
there's like very big hesitation, like I'm fine with it.
okay, so Commissioner Siddiqui, are you confident enough to move it?
I would like to move it for a vote.
Is there a second
I'll
to move?
second it.
All right. All those in favor of approving the quarterly financial report that was sent 2 hours prior, please raise your hand or say aye. All right, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands up. All those opposed to approving the quarterly financial report, please raise your hand or say no. All those abstaining, please raise your hand or say no. We have 2 abstentions. So the motion carries.
Thank you.
5. Thank you. Okay. Great.
Can I just ask a quick point of information?
Sure.
Commissioner Siddiqui, is there any anything specific to it just being like our point on the calendar that it like happened to be 2 hours early for our meeting, but like for potentially other ANCs, it was a perfectly reasonable amount of time? Like, not to rationalize them, but do you get what I'm asking?
I get exactly what you're asking. It was a personalized email sent to me and Commissioner Pagets and Commissioner Prinzo. I don't know when they send it to other ANCs. I don't have any information if they also send it to them 2 hours before. But I will say that since the new OANC director has taken over, this is modus operandi for this office of ANC. They're either very late or after the several months after the deadline before they do something.
Understood.
I would encourage all of you all to send, if you feel strongly about this issue, please send Councilmember Robert White an email. The oversight for OANC is coming up. And just let them know this is what's happening when we're doing our quarterly financials.
Commissioner Kripke.
I mean, I have a lot of sympathy, Commissioner Siddiqui, and I feel like it puts you in an awkward position if they're generating the reports that's hard or difficult or impossible for you to validate, and they're requiring you to sign off on them. It's just like kind of an unconscionable process, and I don't like that it puts you in a weird position like that. And so anyway, I mean, I guess the thing I want to ask is if you have any specific recommendations or whatever. I mean, I'm happy to make contact council members about this, but I want to be clear about what we think the solution is. And I don't think, from what you've said, it doesn't sound like a good situation at all.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, Commissioner Kripke. I mean, this is why I only do things that have an email trail. So if ever it comes back to us, like, why did you do this? It's like, no, OANC asked us to do it. So I'm comfortable in that regard. I would say that if you do reach out to council members, both Fruman and White, I would say you should tell them that the Office of OANC has not provided a mechanism for ANCs to file quarterly financial reports and are basically sending us pieces of paper to approve.
And where this really took a turn was they took away what was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. And then kept saying that they were going to replace it with something better. But it took like over a year and it's not better. And I think the system went down over the weekend too, when they finally sent the login information to Commissioner Steaky. And then they were like, by the way, you can't log in because it's broken. Like that's what we're working with. Like it's really not great. The other thing to note is there is a draft of the OANC, the Office of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission strategic plan available that we can comment on. I think we have until the end of February, so we might want to consider a resolution next month on that. I plan
We
on.
have TPP is doing a draft this
Oh, okay.
February,
Great, thank you.
so everyone can comment.
Perfect. And do you know when that meeting is? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was gonna do it later, but February 8th, we're doing that, and we have one change to the rules.
Okay. Yeah, so I will definitely be testifying at the OANC oversight meeting, probably focused more on the unruly grant approval process and the unclear what's an expense and sponsorship and things, because as Commissioner Siddiqui mentioned, we do have about $100,000 in our bank account that we can't liberate because a number of the things that we want to do keep getting denied for various reasons that are beyond our understanding, and we want that money back into our community to help the people whose money it is, so it's I think we're all pretty frustrated by it. So, but thank you, Commissioner Prinzo, for bringing that up for the transparency meeting. Does anyone have anything else on this point? Okay, great. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to announcements. So we'll start with single member district reports. Anyone have anything to report out from their SMD this month? Commissioner Steaky.
Wait, Commissioner Prinzo raised his
sorry.
electronic hand first.
You can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So the only thing the one thing I want to point out to folks is there's been a bunch of water leaks on Porter Street coming out to Porter, where the water is leaking on the road and then it pools into ice. This is not a new issue. It's been happening for a while, but then it's connected apparently to another issue that's related to people's backyards flooding on Porter, if you live on Porter as well. So if you're having issues like that on Porter Street, Department of Buildings, DDOT, DP, and one more agency, DOE, are trying to figure out why the drainage system isn't working properly. It seems to be something that's not under control of any of the agencies, and it's also not on private land. So there's a big email thread, and we're working with Councilmember Fruman's office to figure it out. But if anyone has any issues, please reach out to me. Just wanted to update that for everyone.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Prinzo.
I just wanted to mention that we are aware of an appeal that's going on with the Wardman redevelopment project. I believe the Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee is going to discuss it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
February
We are aware of it. We are going to consider a resolution reaffirming ANC3C's support for the project.
Great, thank you. Anyone else, the single member district report? Mine's not as single member district, but more generally, DDOT will be in the project team for the Taft Bridge pedestrian railway improvement project. Will be having an in-person meeting at the Oyster Adams School on Saturday, February 10th. Still confirming if it will be late morning or early afternoon in the exact time, but we will be noticing that meeting on that specific to that project prior to at least a week prior to it taking place. So any other last call, single member district reports? All right, seeing none, we'll move to committee reports, starting with safe, sustainable, and equitable transportation.
So we won't have a meeting, or we didn't have a meeting in January, but we will be having a meeting in February, and we will be discussing a program similar to New York City's designated open stroller areas for WMATA metro buses to make this metro buses more stroller friendly. So the meeting is on February 14th, Valentine's Day. No pressure on attending for those that have other plans, but if there are other items that people would like to discuss on Valentine's Day or at the transportation committee, please send them over as an email to me and I'll add them to the agenda.
Or you can bring a date to the committee meeting. Come on, Swallow.
Oh my gosh.
I think that'll be the first and last date.
Awesome. And hopefully everybody looked at their WMATA year in review report card. I'm in the top 1% of WMATA users. So
you're saying you're the 1%, Commissioner Paggett?
I am. It's the
Wow.
I feel like I won a contest didn't know I was participating in, and it made me so happy. Moving on. Transparency and public process. Commissioner Prinzo, you kind of gave a brief what you're going to do.
Yeah. I'll just reiterate, February 8th at 6:30, we will have a meeting. We're discussing an addition to our rules to account for removal of committee chairs should we ever need a process to do that. And we will also be talking about, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. We're talking about removal of committee chairs that are not ANC commissioners, because our rules do allow members of the community to be committee chairs, but we don't have a recourse if we need to remove them. And lastly, we're discussing a resolution about the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commission strategic plan.
Great. And I also, safe, sustainable transportation meets regularly, if there is one, that month on the second Wednesday?
Second Wednesday of the month.
Second Wednesday of the month. If we do have a transparency and public process committee meeting, they are I
believe they're the second Thursday. So did I get the date wrong? No, because the month starts on a Thursday.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then next up will be community engagement and grants, Commissioner Kripke.
I'm sorry, I'm having some technical problems. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Great, thanks. Very quick. We do have a meeting scheduled for, oh God, I just lost it. January 30th. Let's see, just confirm that. Yeah, January 30th, Tuesday, January 30th, because I anticipate we will have one or more applications for grants coming in, which I'll notify as they come in. So please hold that time if we have grants that come in. That's 7 o'clock on the 30th. So that's the news. We have a report from Cleveland Park Main Street and others for the Endangered Species Project that they haven't expended the funding yet. That those reports are required periodically, and just so we're aware of where the money is. So it still sits with them. They haven't yet expended it. That's all.
Okay, great, thank you. And if we have grants to consider, those meetings are the last Tuesday of the month.
That's
Correct.
the plan, so that they're prepared, so we can pass them in the full ANC.
Great, thank you. All right, up next is Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development. Commissioner Gordon, I know our next meeting will be on the first Monday of every month, which will be February 5th, and starts at 6:30. Do you have anything?
No additional.
Okay, as Commissioner Prinzo said, we will be discussing a resolution regarding the protest of the building permits at the Wardman site. That case has been filed with BZA, so that record is publicly available and open for folks to review. In addition, I'm aware of one other application that we will likely be reviewing. I haven't gotten an address or the case file for it yet, so I don't know much more than what I just said, other than they're wanting to come to our committee meeting. So at least those two items for now. We will be noticing that meeting, if I can find a calendar, next Monday. So if anybody has anything to add between now and then, please let us know. Alrighty. Residential historic preservation.
sure. So the committee, did not meet in December. I'm aware of at least one application that would be coming forward in February. So the committee will be meeting in February.
Excellent. And that is starting at 7:30 the first Monday of every month. So it would follow, we'll start at 7:30 after the Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee meetings, if we have applications. So all right, great. Environmental justice.
Yes, the next meeting of the Environmental Justice Committee will be Tuesday, February 13th, 6:30 p.m. The topic will be cleaning up Rock Creek. And thanks to Commissioner Kripke, we have some speakers in the pipeline, including DC Water, to talk about the Piney Ridge storage project. So yeah, that's the plan for our February meeting. Second Tuesday of the month is Environmental Justice Committee.
At 6:30, right?
6:30 p.m. That's correct.
Thank you. All right, public safety.
Sure.
We are meeting tomorrow at 7. We will have an update from the Metropolitan Police. We will have the Office of Unified Communications coming. We're going to be welcoming 3 new committee members. And we're going to have a discussion on Councilmember Pinto's secure DC legislation. All right, Rick.
I would just add a couple of things. So first of all, I confirmed with Captain Haskis of the 2nd District, and MPD has recently instituted foot patrols in some of the commercial areas along Connecticut Avenue. I talked to him at the at Councilmember Fruman's Public Safety Forum this evening, but had to leave then to come to this meeting. So, you know, I expect that we'll hear more from the captain tomorrow night when MPD presents, including, you know, the rollout to other parts of other commercial districts in the ANC, including on Wisconsin Avenue, north of the cathedral, and hopefully Glover as well, and the extent of patrols in Cleveland and Woodley Park. But this is something that the members of the ANC Public Safety Committee have advocated for, and particularly the Cleveland Park Public Safety Committee and Councilmember Fruman has supported. Also tonight, the Chief Smith, Commander Savoy, the U.S. Attorney and the D.C. Attorney General were there along with Councilmember Fruman. I mean, everybody knows that crime has increased, you know, 50% year over year in Ward 3, higher in some neighborhoods, including on Connecticut Avenue. Councilmember Fruman indicated that in the main he will be supporting the omnibus crime legislation that Public Safety Chair, Council Member Pinto is bringing forward, that is a compendium of proposals by other council members and the mayor that was endorsed today and moved out of the committee at the council and will go to the committee on the whole probably in February. Mr. Fruman said he expected some tweaks, but expects this will pass the council. And as Commissioner Prinzo said, we will be discussing this tomorrow night. So a lot going on. I'm hoping there is a recording of tonight's session. I don't have the link for it, but hope to post it by tomorrow on the ANC website, or make it available at the Public Safety Committee tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Thanks.
So apparently it will be brought before the committee of the whole for a first vote next week on January 23rd. So if we want to put forward comments in the form of a resolution, we should consider that for a February meeting.
Agreed.
Sorry if I forgot that word there. Okay, cool.
And that committee meets the third Wednesday, unless we meet on the third Wednesday.
Which is the case of this evening.
And next month.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry, April.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, next announcements, mayor, council, agency, or community organizations. Matthew Barclay messaged me that he wasn't going to make it. He is our Ward 3 liaison for the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. So he asked me to provide his contact information in the chat, which I will do. And you can reach out to him with any questions or problems you have with any of the DC government agencies and services. All right.
Cassandra Hetherington also sends her regrets. She was attending the public safety forum at the library.
Okay, cool. I know that she is diligently working on planning Cleveland Park Day, which is scheduled for June. Still working on finalizing the
I think it's 8.
tentatively scheduled for June 8th. Let's put it in. So I know there's a group of folks involved, including myself and Commissioner Prinzo. I'm sure Commissioner Gordon and Siddiqui will also participating in the planning of this community event, and hopefully we will be also participating in an ANC sponsored dunk tank staffed by ANC commissioners. I know. It'll be great. So in addition to a number of other fun things that are in the works for that day. So looking forward to that. I know Robert from the Woodley Park Main Streets was also at the council member Fruman event this evening too, so he's not available for update. Any other community organizations are and want to raise a hand, or anybody from the council member's office who I'm assuming are all at the other meeting? By the way, we didn't counter program that meeting. Our meeting, as we decided this year, was decided last year for the state. So, and the council member has all of the ANC Ward 3 meeting dates, including on his website. So
Yeah, I think that it was one of those things where Mr. Fruman had wanted to have the meeting in December, and just given the other participants and lining them all up, this was the first time they could do it. It's regrettable there was a conflict, but it is what it is.
yeah, I imagine that was the case and he wasn't picking on us, but I just wanted to point out that we weren't at fault.
He did choose our ANC in which to have the meeting.
Yes, yes. Okay, great. And again, the work with the Public Safety Committee, having the conversation, the dialogue there is helpful too. So, thank you. Okay. Anybody else, we'll open it up to the community forum. Anybody have anything they want to raise that wasn't otherwise on the agenda, or future items that you'd like us to put on the agenda or look into? You can use the raise hand feature and the reactions button on the menu bar below, or turn your video on and raise your hand, or anything else to get our attention. All right, Brian, I see you've come on video. What do you have to share?
So I guess this is the appropriate venue. So I live on Ordway Street, right behind the Sam's Park and Shop, or whatever the oldest shopping center. Anyway, so long story short, me and a fellow resident in the building here, it's a condo building, but some people rent, I rent, Cleveland Terrace. Anyway, I moved here in March. And almost immediately, the first day, waking up in the morning after like a long night of moving, and then all I hear is boom, 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 boom. And basically, it's the truck, the ramps going down, and then they're taking out the packages and all this stuff. Anyway, it's been a constant source of service or annoyance, for those who don't speak Yiddish. And it's affected my quality of life drastically, and others in this building. I just looked at my sleep app stats. My sleep has changed 37%. So if you're talking about, I was getting 8 hours of sleep where I was previously, I'm now getting about 5, and I'm woken up. And even when I'm not being woken up by these trucks, at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 6:05 a.m., I still have, like, I wake up and I'm ready for it, right? Waking up in a state of stress. And this affects mental health, physical health, just everything, you name it. Imagine being woken up every day, with a sudden jolt. It really affects you. And they don't give a shit. Pardon my French, but I know we're on a community forum, but that's legit. I've talked to the managers there. They go like this, talk to the hand. I've talked to the security there. They're a little bit better. I even found accidentally the district manager, who was somewhat pleasant, but basically gaslighted me and saying, "Oh, well, we don't do that. The trucks aren't here that late." Not only are they there that early, they're there at 6 a.m., 6:15, before 7. They idle, they vibrate, right? So if you're 20 feet away, like we are here in this building, I can't stand anywhere near the window, even if I'm further back up to close the door, that separates that area from here. So the vibrations and everything. And he was saying, "Oh, well, we don't leave our trucks. Our trucks leave at 10 p.m. That's unheard of that. You're saying that the trucks are here till 11. Well, get this. Here's a new twist. They're now treating this alleyway as their own Walmart parking lot where everybody can come. Come one, come all you delivery trucks, come here, have a nice rest, and then come back at 6 a.m. and wake everybody up. The other day on a Sunday, a couple days ago, Sunday, 6:05 a.m. on a Sunday. So at Saturday night, I was out. I came home about 2 a.m. Unusual, but I did because I was at a festival and I was having fun and I was in a great state of mind. And I figured, oh, it's a Sunday. They're not going to start early. They sometimes start late. There was a truck already out there, parked like a freaking Walmart parking lot. And once you know, just after 6 a.m., he was out there. So I shouted out the window. I was like, what the hell are you doing? It's not even 7. The store doesn't open till 8. Why are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this at 6 a.m.? I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. Well, you know what? We've heard that before in history. I'm just following orders. I'm just doing my job. That doesn't have a good refrain. All right. It doesn't go well with certain people. Anyway, long story short, what the hell can we do? Basically, I've had enough. I'm actually moving. And the main reason that I'm moving is because of the target. All right. And that's just ridiculous that there's no accountability for these
Commissioner
guys.
Gordon, I mean, there is. It's just a matter of shaking the right trees. Commissioner Gordon.
Well, I've been shaking a lot. I've talked to.
Okay, Mr. Melrose, if you can, if we're just trying to stick to
Can
Can you
time.
let Commissioner Gordon respond?
Sure.
Commissioner Gordon.
Hey there. I messaged you in the chat with my
Okay.
email.
Thanks.
So I'm your ANC rep, so I can help you kind of chase that down. I will say, I know it's frustrating. I have somebody on the opposite side of the alley with the same issue. So I've been talking to the mayor's office and talking to a bunch of different people, trying to see like what can be done there. I know it's terribly frustrating. And we've been kind of attacking it in a couple of different ways. So I'm happy to update you on that and try to do the same for you.
Okay, I just wanted to let people know that there's never a break. Monday to Sunday, the only break that I got is when I traveled in August and I wasn't even here, and Christmas Day, and maybe like the day after Christmas. Other than that, for like 330 days that I've been here, when I've been here for like 300, out of those 300, like 298 days, like clockwork, I've been woken up.
So they can't deliver anything before 7 a.m. That's something that we can easily have somebody watch out for enforcement. And I believe it's MPD and DPW. Obviously, I'm sure you're going to contact Matthew, Commissioner Gordon, from the mayor's office.
Yeah. This is the issue. This is an ongoing issue between like 4 and 7 a.m. and on both sides of the alley. Like we've been talking about it for a while, and like the issue is like we'll call it in and then they're gone by the time they get out there for enforcement. So it's definitely frustration, and we've been working on it for quite a bit. So Commissioner Pagets, I'll follow up with you as well in case you have other avenues that I haven't tried.
Can I just respond to that, because I forgot to mention that? Okay, so when it happens, I'm not just screaming at the walls, right? I called the police, I called 911. If you look at my call records, you would see me calling 911 like 100 and something times, probably. Okay, the police come out there. Sometimes they're sympathetic, sometimes they're not. But ultimately, no matter whether they're violating the anti-idling ordinance and idling for more than 3 minutes, or whether they're violating the quiet hours rules, even if the police are there before 7 a.m., they don't do jack. They do jack squat. They do jack squat. They let them get away with it because they're target. There is no enforcement. Nothing is done. So what are they going to do? They're just going to keep on doing it.
We really shouldn't be calling 911 just for traffic.
Well,
I mean, there's a 311 and
What-
there's police non-emergency. The best course of action is what Commissioner Gordon has stated. She's going to contact the mayor's office and she's going to try to get other people from different agencies that are not 911, because I hear you, 911 doesn't work 99% of the times as it is. And I understand, I'm sympathetic. I live next to an active construction site that starts at 6:30 every morning. I get it, I understand, but I mean, I hear you. But, Commissioner Gordon can handle it. I have all the faith in the world in her.
Okay, there's another person on here who, I don't know if he wants to chime in or if he's eating dinner now, who lives downstairs from me. I don't know if he wants to add anything before we move on, because I figured there's no sense in moving on and then him following up, on his thoughts, but he's been here for a while longer. Anyway, it's just nonstop.
Yeah, it's
Oh, and
frustrating.
now, one last thing, I did have people in this building when they were coming at 6 a.m. People in this building sign their name, and I typed something up, and was being pretty straightforward about how it's affecting us. And hey, Target, can you not come before 7 a.m. And Gino, I emailed the note to Gino, and he was going to talk to Target corporate, and he said, okay, I'll read the note off to them and basically voice that it's not just one person. There are many people who signed on to this document, that this is bothering them, and it has been bothering them for years. Okay. So thank you for letting me get on my soapbox, because this has been frustrating me for a while. Like I said, I'm moving, so I'm not gonna have to deal with it in another few weeks. But
so, Mr. Melrose, if we can maybe give your neighbor a chance, and then I'll just say something after
Yep.
that. Yeah, go
Hi,
ahead, Mr.
everyone.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Rankemeyer. I live at 2755 Ordway Street. It's right below Brian. Brian's given you the outlook of the problem. I've lived here since 2019, and I can back up what he's saying. There's our building, there's an alleyway, and then there's Sam's Park and Shop. And principally, it's Target trucks, and they come this weekend, for example, Saturday morning, they came at 6:15 a.m. And, it's just another day in the neighborhood. Then that night at 12:30 p.m., there was another Target truck there. And he was staying overnight in the alleyway like it's a Flying J truck stop. And he's idling his engine. And so at 12:30, I tried calling 311. We don't have a 311 in this neighborhood. There's a recording that says that. It says, please call 911. So I call and I state, it's not an emergency. This is an ongoing problem. Can you please come and give them a ticket? And they tell me all the reasons why they can't. Sometimes they have come, but they never give them a ticket. As Brian says, this happens over and over again. My quick question to sum up is, why can't Target and the other businesses conduct their deliveries during normal business hours from, say, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.? That would be 14 hours a day to deliver all their stuff, and then it wouldn't wake everyone up in the neighborhood. Perhaps you should consider putting a gate at the entrance to the alleyway that could only be opened at 7:30 to allow people to come in. It wouldn't wake us all up. Thank you.
Commissioner Stuckey.
Yeah, I just want to say, one, thank you for coming to the meeting and raising it in this forum. And Commissioner Gordon, if you need any help from any of us, please reach out. But I also just want you all to know, we're volunteers. And if you think we have power to put in gates or convince Target of something, we don't. But I will tell you that if in this forum you're not able to get somewhere, you should keep this energy and take it to the actual paid people, which is our council member's office as well. But I want to make sure that you're updated. I think like Commissioner Prince said, I have full faith in Commissioner Gordon. If anyone can do it, she can. But also, I don't want you to put so much pressure on her or the rest of us to see, right? Keep this energy intact, and let's see where it gets. But please, make sure that you keep it. And when we need to go to the next level, if you can, keep that there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And go ahead. Sorry, Janelle.
I just wanted to add that there's also the 311 app on your phone, and there's a category called engine idling tips that goes to the Department of Energy and the Environment. And it asks if the vehicle idled for more than 3 minutes, what the type was, is this a reoccurring issue, the date and time, the location type. And then you can also, here's what you do, is you upload photo. So you take a photo and then screenshot it so it has the timestamp, and then wait 5 minutes, take another photo of the thing, and then also screenshot the timestamp. And and then another photo. Sorry, this is an easy way of getting somebody to be fined a lot, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. And you take a photo of the license plate and also the DDOT, the U.S. Department of Transportation number on the side of the truck, and they will simply just issue the ticket, because that's enough evidence that won't be disputed, and it's all just via the app.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah, but be casual about taking the photos, because sometimes the drivers get a little angry. Happened to me. It was
Yeah,
not.
sorry, we've been there, done that. You know, as far as the anti-idling, I did speak to a police officer who basically said, you know, that they're not enforcing that. If I had, you know, $5 for every time they idled, I would have almost $1,000 right now. So we're talking about 200 times, you know, out of 300 days I've been here. Idling is going on all the time, no matter whether it's 80 degrees or 20 degrees, you know what I mean? And they give excuses. Oh, well, it's a refrigerated truck. Yeah, it's 20 degrees out. Why do you need a refrigerated truck on? You know, we hear all the excuses all the time, you know, and the cops don't enforce it. So I mean, I appreciate that. Maybe we can go that route, but what me and Joe have seen is just a total lack of accountability, and the cops won't do anything with them. You know, yeah, it's just like we feel like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill sometimes, or most of the time, actually.
Gotcha. Okay. David Ireland.
Hi there, good evening. I'm sorry if this isn't the right forum, but I had a question. I have a BZA application in for my residence. I'm in the 3C08, and I didn't know the process to get it on the agenda to be heard by the ANC. Do I go through this meeting, or do I go through what I heard earlier in the meeting, some subcommittee meeting?
Yes.
I just don't.
You can email myself and Commissioner Gordon to get on the agenda for the planning.
Well,
Oh,
Commissioner Packets,
sorry. Is it a
isn't
single?
it better if they email Commissioner Nash first, because it's their SMD?
Oh, right.
Contact me. We'll get you on the meeting schedule.
Oh, okay. Hi there, Commissioner Nash.
Yeah.
I had emailed you earlier. I guess when is the next meeting that I need that I should?
The next meeting, this goes because it's a BZA application, even though it's for a house, it goes to the Planning and Zoning Committee, which is the first Monday of the month. So it'll be February the 5th at 6:30 p.m., I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and how do is it a Zoom link that I would receive, or how do I get that
It's a Zoom
information?
link. It's a Zoom link. If it's not already on the ANC website, it shortly will be once the agenda.
It goes out a week before.
Yeah.
A week before.
Yeah, just make sure to email us this week or over the weekend so that we can add it to the agenda for that meeting.
And
simply,
you should have your architect or whoever is representing you before the BZA.
I'm actually representing myself. It's a small project. Yeah, I have a design, but it's not. I'm representing for myself.
Okay.
Mr. Ireland, I put Commissioner Nash's email in the chat. I also put all of our emails. So if you have any trouble reaching any of us, just send it to that all one, and someone will try and pick it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody with anything else? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Can I motion to adjourn this meeting in what I think might be record time?
Second.
Oh, wait.
All right. All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand or say aye. All right. That's the majority and it rules. Thank you all. And thank you for your time and efforts. Appreciate you.
Thanks all.
Good night, everyone.
Tomorrow. Have a good night.